Our mission here is to serve you well, to restore the people's faith in this House, in this great and essential institution.
Breaking right now at 4 on Queen City News, it is finally done. After 3 weeks of votes, rejections, nominations, and some backroom deals, the House of Representatives finally has an official speaker. Louisiana's Mike Johnson secured the votes that he needed to take over the gavel from Speaker Pro Tem, North Carolina's Patrick McHenry. It's a truly historic day for the U.S. Congress as a whole. Queen City News is keeping you informed about the latest breaking details from Charlotte to D.C. We're going to start first with our Washington correspondent, Jesse Tenor, live from Capitol Hill. And Jesse, this time the GOP's support was unanimous.
Yeah, that's right, showing just how quickly Johnson was able to unite his party and just how quickly lawmakers are ready to get back to work. Johnson was essentially immediately sworn in, and his name is already hanging above the Speaker's office.
The 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson.
After 3 weeks of infighting,
Thank you all.
House Republicans united around Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson to replace ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down.
Every Republican on the House floor Wednesday supported Johnson, giving him a total of 220 votes. And New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik explained why.
A friend to all and an enemy to none, Mike is strong, tough, and fair.
Former President Trump, whose influence shaped the race, agreed with Stefanik.
I haven't had one negative comment about him. Everybody likes him. He's respected by all.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said he will work with Johnson.
Finding bipartisan common ground whenever and wherever possible.
But other House Democrats, like California Congresswoman Judy Chu, called Johnson an extremist on abortion.
I'm just worried about our institutions and upholding government under Mike Johnson.
And Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss stressed Johnson was one of the leaders behind the effort to overturn the presidential election on January 6th.
Speaker Johnson won the gavel by appeasing the MAGA wing of his party through election denial and extremism.
And now that the House can get back to work, Johnson did say that its first order of business would be reaffirming U.S. support for Israel, and the House is considering that resolution as we speak. Live in Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Jesse, thank you. Our coverage continues back here in Charlotte with Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. So a very historic day for the chamber, and it really took a lot to get here. What does having Johnson's leadership in place actually mean?
A lot to get here is an understatement. 22 days, 14 different individuals put themselves forward, 4 nominees and a million plus ballots, and now we're here. It took probably a lot of concessions, as we mentioned right there in that first piece. You're talking about someone that did vote against the election process and did not want that to move forward. Also another individual that has made a number of comments strong about abortion rights. And so nothing is on accident. If you look at the process where they nominated him and they did the actual vote, he was surrounded by a majority of Republican women. And I thought that was not by accident. They were sitting there to show that, listen, even though he's made these comments in the past, we still support him. And that is kind of a weird place to be. But for sure, I think that they wanted to make sure that they showed uniformity and unanimity as a party. Obviously, everyone's supporting him. So I would assume that there were a number of concessions to get there. But now work can get done. Work can get started. And I think a part of that work is him saying, I'll walk across the aisle and work with my Democratic colleagues. Hakeem Jeffries made the point of saying, listen, for this work to get done, we have to remember that it's about the people, and took it back to the people. And during his passionate remarks, he got a round of applause from the whole House chamber, which normally does not happen at one point. And then he made a couple of jabs at the Republican Party, which none of the Republicans got up at that point. But when the speaker stood up, I think he took a time to mention a couple of things that were important to him, remembering that why he was there serving, that his father and his family would be proud, and all of the members of Congress, their families would be proud. And wanted to make sure, he said, that we're going to work together to bring this country. And he said, I'll make sure our first agenda is giving aid to Israel, who's our strongest ally.
And they're working on that as we speak. But through this whole process, the GOP had been criticized for just looking disorganized and saying, why can't we rally around one person and everyone agree? So what do you think politically set Johnson apart from all the people that were nominated before him and actually failed on the House floor?
A couple of things. I believe first that he probably was someone that did not put himself in a position to be like jockeying for position of the speaker for the last few years. There's a couple of folks that walked out of the last vote saying they had to Google who he was within his own party. So he was someone that was behind the scenes. But also he's been someone that, like a Jim Jordan, has been a strong supporter of the former president, but he wasn't as boisterous as Jim Jordan has been. And I think that helped him. That allowed him to say, look, I can still support the president, but also be someone that can work across the aisle. So I think that was the great mix. And as the Republican Party, they made sure they came out of that room supporting whoever the nominee was. And I think that was a great show of unity for the party to make sure that I don't care who it is, but we're going to all support him.
And pretty much all of Congress just relieved to kind of get back to work and start working on those issues. Khalif, thank you so much.